turrets need electricity? Yes, they do. They need electricity, and it doesn't matter how big your power source is, how massive your battery is, you can have it connected to absolutely nothing, and it will still drain your battery.
Why?
You are so frustrated, you want to pick up that battery and you want to put it through a fucking wall.
I will put you through that fucking wall!
We're outside, genius! There is no wall!
Then I will build one, and I will fucking put you through it!
Rust electricity doesn't work like the real world. The real world typically works like this. You have solar panels on your roof. Those solar panels send electricity not to a battery but to some kind of a smart inverter. The smart inverter then diverts that electricity to a battery, filling it up during the daytime. Once that battery is full, the inverter stops, and when an appliance now needs electricity, it takes electricity straight from your solar panel through your inverter to your appliance that needs it. The sun eventually goes down and then the battery takes over, sending electricity through your inverter to your appliance, powering your home at night. And now I'm going to show you how to do this in Rust. To do this, we only need a few components. We need a splitter, a blocker, a branch, and an OR switch. I'm using solar panels to power this contraption because wind turbines are far too easy to hit from a distance and they're way too expensive. I'm using 12 solar panels and I'm going to connect them using root combiners. Wire everything together. And when you are done, you are left with a spicy 240 output of electricity. Enough electricity to make Elon Musk get a semi. I'm going to place down an LCD and show pass-through. This way you can get a better understanding of how the electricity is flowing through the circuit. You'll see 239 going into the splitter and not 240. This is because the LCD screen uses one electricity. Every electrical component in Rust uses electricity. Now the splitter is just that, it is a splitter. About 240 electricity is coming into the circuit. If I use only two of these three outputs and I connect them to a device, you'll see that it uses about 120, so it divides it in two. If I use the third output and add it to a third electrical device, you'll see that they're now using about 80 each. That is something that we can't use. So we need to disconnect the third item and make sure that our third channel is definitely not used for anything else. Now let's start the wiring. On channel 2, I'm going to send a wire straight to the branch. On the left hand side of the branch out unit, I'm going to set it to 94. I'll explain this later why, but just remember it's quite important. The other side of the branch, I'm going to wire to the block pass through on the blocker. And then this side's going to go to a battery. Place down a large battery and connect that branch outside to the input side of the large battery. That branch is sending 94 worth of electricity into this battery, effectively charging it. From the output side of the large battery, we are going to wire it to the input side of the blocker, and then from the output side of the blocker, we are going to wire it to the input B side of the OR switch, or as I like to call it, the input battery side. Finally, we send a wire from channel 1 on the splitter and we send it directly to the input A side of the OR switch, or as I like to call that one, the input solar. Immediately you'll see input A light up, and that is because the sun is out and of course sun is running on A. And that's pretty much it. Your entire electricity circuit, your unlimited circuit, is now complete. But how does it work? Now I know you guys are a bunch of graphics whores, so I'm going to add some graphics and explain exactly how this thing works. During the day, the sun is falling on the ground, the solar panels pick up the sun and they turn it into electricity. The cluster of solar panels sends that 240 worth of electricity into your splitter. However, it arrives as 239 electricity. That again is because your LCD is using one electricity. Every component is using electricity in the circuit, so please keep that in mind. That 239 electricity is of course divided amongst two of the channels. The third one is not being used. The first channel is sending the electricity straight to the input A side. Input A will be your solar circuit. The second channel is sending electricity to your branch. And remember that branch uses one electricity, so it's actually 118 going through there, not 119. And you've specified that the left hand side needs to branch out 94 worth of electricity. So that 94 electricity minus the 118 going to that branch will leave you with the leftover 24 electricity. And that 24 electricity will block the pass through on the blocker, effectively making the blocker activate. That means no electricity can now pass through that blocker. However, that 94 is not getting blocked, and that is on its way to the input side of the large battery, charging the battery by 94. While that battery charges, it is also discharging a full 100 electricity from the large battery. That 100 electricity flows out of the battery all the way to the blocker. However, it cannot pass the blocker because the blocker is blocking, thanks to this little guy over here. Meaning while the sun is out, this little guy will continuously block that circuit, meaning the battery is unable to discharge. While the sun is out, input A will be the only circuit that's active, sending 119 electricity through the circuit. Channel B will be blocked, and of course the large battery will charge until the sun goes down. Now when the sun starts going down, the real magic happens. As you can see, all the lights are on and the sun is going down, meaning the charge is lowering. However, the battery is still in a state of charge. Now let's pay special attention to that input number and bring back the graphic so you can see what's happening. As it starts depleting, keep your eyes on the middle section here by the blocker and the branch. You'll see that constant 94 is staying still, even though the input current to that branch is lowering. That means that the right hand side of the branch will be the first number to deplete, and once that depletes to 0, it will stop the blocking effect on the blocker. That will then allow the output side of the battery to send that 100 that was getting blocked to the input B side of the OR switch.
Slow motion replay.
Now, regardless of what number of electricity comes into the input side of the branch, we've set the branch out to 94. It will not change. So the right hand side of that branch will be the first to deplete. Once that reaches a full 0, the blocker then deactivates. Then you will see that the B side of the OR switch immediately activates. This is because the blocker is no longer blocking, so that 100 coming out of the battery will now flow to the B side, and the OR switch automatically takes the highest current that's coming into it and it uses that one instead. The battery, of course, is now stronger than the sun, so it has now switched over to the battery, meaning we are fully running on battery power. The solar input A is still functional at this point. However, as the sun starts getting less and less, the switch will eventually click off, meaning you're going to be 100% on battery.
Tomorrow.
Now, there's no denying that I'm an absolute lazy cunt, so instead of forming a sunrise scene, what I've done is I've taken the previous sunset scene and I've literally flipped it in reverse. And as you can see, the sun is fake rising, and with it, the battery is still activated. The battery B circuit you can see is green. The A circuit is also green now, however it is not in use because it is not strong enough, because we haven't yet achieved that branch of 94. However, once we do get close, you will see that the electricity from the battery is going to get pulled back before the blocker. This is because once we surpass that 94 and we send electricity to the blocker will activate, causing that battery circuit to stop, and you will see the B circuit switch off. Now the system is running on sun whilst the batteries are charging. Fucking science. The question is, how do we use one output of electricity to power our entire base? Well, we have to place down a SAM turret, call it maybe 2 auto turrets, and of course the 3 existing lights. This is just an example. So we disconnect the outputs and we place down a branch for each individual item. This branch that I'm putting down now is going to be for the lights. I'll connect it directly. No wait, that's messy. I will connect it neatly and I will send the full 118 electricity to that branch. I'm going to branch off, let's see, 2, 4, 6. Okay, the lights use 2 each, so I'm going to put 8 just for safety's sake. I'm going to branch off 8 power here, and I'm going to send 8 out of this side over here. I'll connect this part to the lights. And there we go. If I look at the input of the lights, you will see that it's receiving 8 and it's passing through 6. That is now receiving 6 and passing through 4. And then it's going to receive 4 and pass through 2, which means I can place another light, so I have an extra space. If I need to add more lights, I can just change this number over here. Now the right hand side has the leftover electricity, so I'm going to place a branch now for the auto turrets, and I'm going to link the leftover power to the input side of that branch. Now auto turrets use 10 electricity each, so I need to send that 20 electricity. However, there's a problem. If I send it to 20 and I have to power 2 devices off one cord, I'm going to need another branch. So I'll place the branch down and I'll configure 10 to go to the left turret, which means the other 10 will go to the right turret. The problem though is that this branch on the ground here uses 1 electricity, and I'm currently setting it to 20, so I need to change it to 21 or 22. But you know what, let's leave it on 20 and I'll show you what happens. Now if I connect this branch to the auto turret branch, the left one should power alone. That's because the turret on the left is getting 10, which I set. The branch is using 1 electricity, but the one on the right is now receiving 9. So I have to change this to 21 or 22. And it's alive! Yes! And finally the SAM turret. Let's quickly connect the SAM turret up. Now SAM turrets use 25 electricity, so I'm going to set it to 25 and set it, and you'll see the little light on the SAM turret is now green, meaning it is receiving enough electricity. Awesome. All my devices are powered directly off the sun. Now, you know what, I'm starving. Let me well in quickly. Now let's do a calculation. I've got 118 coming out of this OR switch, and I've got 118 going in here. I also branched out 8 for my lights, and 1 to power the branch itself, which means I'm using 9 off that 118, meaning I'm sending 109 over to this side. 109 goes in, I'm using 1 to power the branch, and I'm sending 22 over to the turrets, which means I should have 86 left in theory. 1 electricity to power this branch, 25 to go to the SAM turret, which means I should in theory have about 60 left. Perfection. However, remember, this is off sunlight. My sunlight is slightly stronger than my battery, so what I'm going to do is disconnect my solar components so that I can switch over to battery, and I see that I'm on 40. I will rather do my calculations working on 40 because I'd rather have too much electricity than too little. Be sure to periodically optimize your calculations. Like earlier, the auto turrets, I said they could be 21 or 22. If I make it 21, I will free up 1 electricity for another item. If I need to add more electrical items in my base, all I have to do is add another branch and use the leftover electricity from the previous component and move it over to this branch. Place down the receiver, power it to 2, and presto, it is working 100%. I'm loving it. Now if I was you, I wouldn't change too many things in this design. The solar panels and batteries are exactly the way it should be, and adding more batteries and solar would probably ruin the circuit. If you feel that you need more electricity, I would just duplicate this circuit and build another one right next door. I thoroughly hope you enjoyed this design. We now have a solar system that is running 100% in the daytime and the nighttime. It's efficient, it's simple, it's beautiful. Wait, what? I didn't connect my lights there. What? Le push. Yeah, player. And while YouTube ad revenue is about as stable as the South African government, I have to give a special shout out to my Patreons. These guys give me a consistent and regular income, and without the Patreon squad, I probably wouldn't be able to do what I do today. So Patreon squad, if you guys are listening, thank you so much. Fucking love you dudes. If you would like to join the Patreon squad, stalk my Twitter, or join my infamous Discord, please be sure to click on all of my social links in the video description below. Turns out I also have one of those fancy little join button thingies. You click on my channel and you click on join, you can buy my free videos, I think, and get cool logos next to your name when you type in my comment section. Join now! Yay! And finally, this is the second last video of the misterflak $500 PayPal giveaway. Now I'm not going to go into great depth, you can pause it on screen if you want to see more details, but essentially, if you were the first person to find the code, you win $500 PayPal. Oh yeah. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, flak out.